Hi, I'm Presley Poe, international educator, specialist in hair cutting and hair color design. I'm really excited to be here with the Power of the Collective and introduce you to my beautiful model, Madeline. I am so excited today to show you how to do a shag haircut in 3 subsections. You heard me right, 3 subsections. I'm going to teach you how to use the head shape to create volume, curvature, and movement, and we're going to make the hair fuller and thicker in appearance. First and foremost, we're going to start with a heart-shaped fringe zone. Now, if you're wondering why the heart shape, remember that curve creates movement. So everything that happens at the base, I'm going to repeat this. Everything that happens at the base, meaning your subsections, your partings, if it's curved, it's going to create curvature and movement. If it's like whatever shape's happening here will happen through the mids and the ends. This is very important, all right? So we're starting with a heart-shaped fringe here, which is gonna create a lot of curvature and movement in the fringe zone. Next, we're moving on to just 2 subsections from the nose all the way down to the nape. Referring back to your zonal placement chart, you will see that we have our length zone, our density, our internal support, and our external. So I'm going to give you a guide on your hands, your body at all times that you can use behind the chair or anywhere you like. So everyone put your hands up just like this. I'm going to turn my hand so that you can see what I'm looking at. If we think of this as the round of the head, you have your apex and your nape here, okay? So first we're going to have our length guide. Then we have our density zone, followed by our internal support and our external movement. Now, this is a traditional haircut with layers. Now, I want you to take that and flip it, and now you have a shag. So in a shag, your length zone is actually the longest, and just above your length zone is your density before you get into your internal, and finally your shortest, which is your external. I hope this makes sense for you. Let's watch it in action. Like I said previously, it's so important to understand that the shape that is at the base dictates what we see through the mids and the ends. If I have a strong line, I'm going to have a strong finish. And it's imperative that with this curtain fringe, we have the softest finish available to us. So check this out. Instead of creating a straight line forward and separating the fringe, we're going to create a zigzag parting. Now, all you need to do is place the wide teeth of your comb at the point of your heart and then do a small zigzag. Once you get to the length zone there, you're just going to place your finger in the center, open up, and you have a beautiful zigzag parting. This will ensure that you're going to have the softest finish. I've walked myself to the opposite side, and I want you to know that I've kept the hair in its zonal placement, so in its natural fall position, not pulling the hair opposite like this. So we're allowing the hair to lay how it's naturally going to fall on the body, applying it in the comb, and walking to the opposite side. So you can see that I have this beautiful C shape. Now, I'm going to be using the body itself, her facial features, to determine where her fringe lays by allowing my comb to sit right there on the cheekbone. It shows me that the top is going to be at the opposite side of the eye, and then we're going to have our cheekbone here. That's where it's going to lay on the opposite side as well. So I want this part to be shorter and this part to be longer and add curvature and movement. So she's going to 1, 2, 3, turn towards me, and then 1, 2, 3, tilt to your opposite shoulder. Beautiful. So now I have a lovely C shape, and I'm going to just walk it right here. Now, because I'm on the opposite side, if I cut like this, it's going to be very strong. So I'm going to take this flat in my fingers and flip it into the opposite direction so that I have my short and then into my long and at a 45-degree angle right under the eye. And I'm just going to continue moving gently, open and closing my scissor like this. This is called biting. Holding on to the hair, and you can see how it already falls in a beautiful petal-like shape. So as she comes back to natural fall position, you can see that hair automatically kick to the side, creating curvature and movement without us having to implement eating tools. So just for perspective, I want us to see what we've achieved: beautiful, soft, and curvature and movement, and what we had before. So in one simple and easy move on your part and using your client as an implement for your success, we were able to create curvature, movement, softness, short to long, all in one. I've walked myself to the opposite side, And I'm going to pick up our hair in its subsection natural fall one more time. Just going to 1, 2, 3, turn towards me. By the way, this is how I talk to my clients. And 1, 2, 3, tilt to the opposite side. She's never done this before, and you see how easy it was to follow this direction. So I'm going to use my chair, and then I'm going to walk the hair to the other side. Now, unlike our previous subsection, I do not have to twist this side to get the short to the long. So we're going to come in, going right off the side of the eye into the cheekbone, as you can see. So the angle of my finger is going to dictate where the fringe lays on the opposite side. So short, and here's the thing, we're going to take it and tuck it into our finger. That's going to give us a little bit more control. 45-degree angle, and then just gentle movement to the opposite side so that we continue that over direction and softness. You see how lovely it just fell to the opposite side, and we get that beautiful curvature and movement. So when she comes back to natural fall, we get that stunning shape again. If we've done this correctly, we should have a shape that looks a lot like this. Shorter in the center and longer on the sides. Now, because we stayed square to the floor, we still have a really strong finish. So we're going to take this one step further, and we're going to utilize over direction and create some fullness and body in the fringe. Lifting all of the fringe up and back, I can see where my 2 density zones lie. Checking underneath, there is my fringe in the front, and there's my length. So what I'm going to do is come back at a 45-degree angle with my scissor, and we're going to slide cut into that. Just creating some softness and movement in our external. It's going to sit right there on top of our length. And now, short, pushes, my hand is moving, and long. Beautiful, look how soft and full now. It's exactly what I was looking for. Now that we've created a beautiful curtain fringe in just 2 subsections, it's time to move on to the back 2 sections to create this entire shag. Here we go. I'm going to stand on the opposite side of my client so that I can have access to the external movement first. Now, in this subsection, we're going to connect the shortness of the fringe all the way down to the length in one subsection. So we're going to create layers, we're going to create movement, we're going to have short to long, and we're going to have volume. So if we're going back to our cutting wheel, we know that that means over direction, over direction, over direction. And when we have our zonal placement guide, now you know that we're doing all 4 of those subsections in one. I've gathered the entire left-hand side into one subsection placed square to the floor right now. Here we can see my guide, that's my fringe, and my guide, that's my length at the bottom. And everything in between, that's gotta go. If I'm here, I'm square to the floor, and I'm going to create a line of demarcation that's gonna fall equidistant to the length that I've cut here. So I wanna make sure that I'm implementing the round of the head to dissolve any lines of demarcation before we even put them in. So here, I'm gonna place the hair in my comb, and then I'm gonna have her tilt to the opposite side. Now I've got my over direction up, and I've got my over direction over, but I need this part to be shorter and this back portion to be longer. So 1, 2, 3, and she turns towards me. You're gonna keep your body closest to the shortest part. We're gonna take not 2 fingers, but a 3-finger hold. So you're gonna lift your fingers like this, center finger goes up, 2 finger goes underneath, and 1 goes up, and you're gonna roll it. Now you can see there's the length in the back, the length in the front, and we cut. All right, before I let this hair go, let's recap. I'm in full over direction with the hair over the apex. That means volume. She's moved the head into the opposite side, which means soft and round. So I've got my short in the front and my long in the back. All of my zones are in one. So I should have volume, movement, short to long. You ready? Let's see. For perspective, I want us to see what we got versus what we had. So we can see here that we have this beautiful movement forward. Everything's wrapping forward. We have a beautiful volume button here. And then the other side falls just a little flat, but that's okay. We got this side too. No movement, no volume, and it's flat. Now I told you that this is going to be a 3-section haircut. So I did my external, my internal, and now it's time for our density and length. Remember that we want to keep most of the length of her hair, so over direction is completely necessary here once again. For this particular section, I'm going to utilize my chair and my client as an implement for my success. So in order to get to the front, I simply need to move my client forward. The hair is draped over, but I want the front to be shorter and the back to be longer. So now the front is closer to me and the back is further away. I'm going to hold all of the hair down into its zones and walk it forward. Now I want this to bevel, so I just need her to tilt back. Perfect. And then turn towards me as much as you can. Beautiful. And back one more time for me. Stunning. So now I have a guide here and I have a guide here, and I'm going to cut parallel to the floor. There's my guide in the back and my guide in the front. I want to stay parallel to the floor so that I create some beautiful density, but I'm going to cut perpendicular to the hair so that we have some softness. Even though we cut the hair square to the floor, you can see how automatically it creates curvature and movement to the body. This shape is actually mimicking the apex. Remember that egg shape that we talked about before. So I have short going into long with curvature and movement. And then we're going to guide that hair back to where you can see the beautiful way that it flows now. So again, what we have versus what we had. And when she comes back to natural fall, the length comes down even further. All right, we've got the hair pulled up and we're on to the other side. So we're going to keep it really simple this time. We are in over direction, full over direction. She turns towards me. It's short in the front. It's going to be longer in the back. 3-finger hold. Lift your center finger up and over the apex. That's going to be your volume. There's our 2 guides there. Long in the back, short in the front. Creating volume by not doing too deep of a point cut, and then allowing the hair to drop over, coming back, and you can automatically see all that movement come through. Beautiful. All right, it's perimeter time. We've done the external and the internal, and now it's time for our density and length. We're just going to drape the hair over the shoulder, turning her towards me. Now we want the front to be short and the back to be long. So she just simply turns towards me. Now this is shorter. And then if she tilts back, now the back will be further away and longer. So we're going to take our hair square to the floor in our comb until we find our guides. There is my length guide here. And I have a length guide right here in the front. So we're going to drop down to this length right here. All right, here we go again. So as we let go, even though we cut the hair square to the floor, we got curvature and movement mimicking the shape of the head. She comes back to natural fall and the hair drops down another inch. Let's have a look at how it's going to lay in the back. Beautiful curvature and movement. Curvature and movement. Volume soft and tapered towards the ends. I know what you're thinking. It can't possibly be that easy, but it is. Let's talk about the things that we were working for in this haircut. Keep the length, create volume, create curvature and movement. Let's see how we did. We've got our length, we've got beautiful volume, a soft curtain fringe, and curvature and movement throughout the entire haircut in only 3 sections. I promise you, it can be easy. I hope that you enjoyed this cut as much as I did doing it. Now, what I really love about this shape is that this is the kind of shag that almost anyone can wear. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Presley Poe with the Power of the Collective.